My mother wrote me a letter after I confronted my father. It wasn't love, it was a list. I know you like oat milk. I know you can gut a deer. It read like a stalker's manifesto. Is this how you prove you see someone or own them? I found the letter last week, buried in a box of old school reports. The paper was thick, creamy stationery, kind she used for thank you notes. I recognized the looping cursive before I even unfolded it. My mother's handwriting. The scent of her gardenia perfume still clung to the fibers, faint but unmistakable. My hands started to sweat. She'd written it years ago, right after ID sent a raw, honest letter to my father. I told him how his coldness and abandonment had carved holes in me. I never sent that letter without her seeing it. Insisted on reading everything first. And before I even got a reply from him, this arrived. Not a letter of apology, not a letter of support, an inventory. She started every sentence the same way. I know you like a clean car. I know you don't like sleeping by yourself or in a basement, by yourself. I know you like Chipotle. I know you like coffee with oat milk. Any time of day, in fact. I know that you have a lot of followers on Instagram. At first, I thought it was a clumsy attempt at affection. She was listing my preferences, my quirks. But as I read on, my stomach began to clench. The sentences became a gridshed sandwich, something real between two things she'd decided for me. Something I genuinely loved, like photography and indie music, would be flanked by lines that felt like they belonged to a stranger she'd built. I know you can fire a gun and shoot a deer and sit in a deer stand and gut a deer. I have never once expressed interest in hunting. I've never held a rifle. The image of me gutting an animal is so foreign, it made my vision blur. But there it was, typed in her perfect cursive, presented as fact, as if she'd been watching a different daughter through a one-way mirror. The creepiest part came toward the end. She wrote about my childhood fear of sleeping alone in the basement of vulnerability ID only ever shared with her when I was 7 and terrified. She'd used it as proof. See, I know your fears. I was there. My skin started crawling, a prickling heat that started at my neck and spread down my arms. I could hear her voice reading it aloud, soft and sweet, the same tone she used when she told me I was too sensitive. I dropped the paper like it was on fire. The final line, I see you, my name. I know you. I love you. I sat on the floor, staring at the carpet, trying to breathe. The air felt thick, like the room was shrinking. I realized what she'd done. She wasn't connecting. She was printing a Reseda master file on my soul. Every entry was a chain. I know this, so you can't hide. I know this, so you can't leave. She weaponized my vulnerabilities, my real interests, and her own fantasies about me into a single document designed to prove one thing: I could never be separate from her. I never confronted her. I couldn't. My father was the overt villain, one who screamed and left. She was the savior, the one who stayed, who cleaned up his messes. So any accusation I aimed at her felt like treason. The guilt came before I even opened my mouth. How could I blame the parent who was always there? But reading that letter now, I see the pattern with painful clarity. It's not love. It's an audit, a performance of intimacy designed to make me doubt my own reality. She didn't want a daughter with a separate life-ish, wanted an extension of herself. And this letter was her final argument. I know you, therefore you are mine.
Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Reed. What the narrator describes is a textbook example of enmeshment combined with coercive control. The mother's identity inventory is not an act of love, it is an act of ownership. By aggressively listing traits, fears, and preferences, she was establishing a false equivalence: I know you, so you cannot exist without me. This tactic denies the victim's autonomy and creates a psychological cage where any attempt at separation is framed as betrayal. The most insidious element is the injection of fabricated traits like the hunting reference you hitch serves to confuse the narrator's sense of self. When a parent claims to know you better than you know yourself and includes details that are untrue, the victim begins to doubt their own identity. This is coercive control, a sustained pattern of behavior designed to strip away independence and enforce dependency. The guilt the narrator feels is a direct result of the mother positioning herself as the good parent, making any criticism feel like a moral failing. Was she genuinely trying to connect? Or was she performing ownership to prevent her daughter from becoming a separate person? What do you think? You decide.